I'm Linda, and I volunteer at Charities weekly.
I'm Louise, and I'm a foster mentor, and I also have two fosters.
I'm Carol, and I've been with Leftfield as a volunteer for a year and a half, and I had a little foster dog named Peggy.
I'm Nicole, and I am the foster for Ray.
I'm Nancy Corso. I am an adoption counselor here at headquarters on the weekends. I adopted a Metfield dog, and I also adopted a hospice dog, Kitty.
I'm Jackie, and I have a hospice dog. Just like
I'm Kristen. I work here in the office. And you hospice dogs.
How many hospice dogs has Kristen had?
Yes, I
Too many to
yeah.
name.
Yeah. I've had hospice dogs here and foster dogs, and yeah.
I don't think people here know you've done that.
I'm Bunny. I'm the volunteer and foster manager.
I'm Liette, and I volunteer here.
I'm Jeremiah. I'm part-time staff, a volunteer, foster, and soon to be adopter.
Really?
I'm Tim and I'm a volunteer.
I'm Katie. I work here. I sometimes take care of the hospice dogs.
Veterinarian.
I'm Russell. I've fostered and hospiced a lot of dogs, and I mentor the hospice families.
I'm Lydia. I work here part-time taking care of the dogs.
I'm Fawn, and I work here too.
I work here too.
And recently lost her dog. 16 years.
Thank you. That gives me an idea of who's in this room tonight. And what I really hope we can do is, this was my plan, is that I would talk a little bit and give you just some ideas, things that I've learned in the last years doing this work. And then open it up to discussion, because just going around and hearing who's in this room, I think we have a lot we can teach each other. I think we can learn from each other, because a lot of you, I think, have walked this path. You've walked this path and you know its journey. And I think we can learn from each other. So if that works for you, I'll just do a little bit of some talking and then open it up. But if you have any question while I'm talking, feel free to, because this is, for me, it's very informal. So if you want to ask a question about something I say, or you see it differently, please. That's fine with me. I doing this work, I always learn from the people that I meet with. So I'm looking forward to walking out of here tonight, having learned. Something I read one time, it said, "Blessed is the person who has earned the love of an old dog." And that certainly speaks to my heart. I had the privilege of sharing my life with a 17-year-old dog who is no longer here, but now I have probably 14 or 15. So I know that love of an old dog. So I so respect what I see us doing tonight is kind of trying to increase our sensitivity to this time, to this journey with our animals. And if any of you know much about me, you know that I'm about honoring the relationship and honoring this arrangement. That's really what I'm about, because I feel it does deserve honor. What we all do, we all have done, we all continue to do. I think that doing the work we do, a lot of times for me, it feels like we're on sacred ground, because I think what we're doing with our animals so often feels to me very, very sacred. It's a unique time, I think, in our experience with animals, because of the poignancy and the emotion of this time. But I think what's so wonderful about the work we all do is we get to write that final chapter in the dogs' lives until we share their lives. We get to write that final chapter. And I hope tonight that when we talk together that we can learn things tonight that help us to write that final chapter in a way that we want that final chapter written. And just as all writers, authors, we all choose different ways to write, and we choose different words, and we might present it in different ways. How you write the chapter, and you write the chapter will be different. But the important thing I think for us to do is to try to think about what matters to us. What are our values that are going to let us write that final chapter? Because I really believe that our values are what guide our decisions, our treatment decisions, our end of life decisions, quality of life decisions. That's just something that I think happens. You may see it differently. One of the take-home messages that I want to leave you with tonight is that you don't have to go through this alone. You don't have to go through it alone. I encourage you to let other people help you, let others help you, so that you can be open to the gifts of this time. Because I think there are gifts to this time of our sharing our lives with them. So try not to go through it alone. Try to get the kind of emotional support you need. Try to get the kind of practical support you need, the veterinary support you need, each other here. There's a lot of wisdom in this room. I know it just from going around and hearing the introduction. There's a lot of knowledge and experience and wisdom in this room. So please try not to go through it alone. It's this journey takes a toll. It's hard. It takes a toll financially. It takes a toll emotionally. It takes a toll some of that and the fatigue that can come and the compassion fatigue that can come from doing it again and again and again. So I really do encourage you not to go through it alone, but to let other people help you. And I say it again, so you can be open to the gifts that happen at this time. It's also, I think, a very precious time. And I encourage people to savor this time, to really savor the time. I think it's a lot about being in the moment with an animal, being right there in that moment, and to savor the preciousness of that time. I think our animals know our movements, they know our presence, and I think they certainly taught me what it is to age and to die with grace. They have taught me that, the grace and the dignity and the courage with which they go through this. So I think they're lessons for us, and that's what I mean about being open to the gifts of this time. I think that there is a series of goodbyes that we say, a series of goodbyes, as we acknowledge the changes that are coming, the changes that have come, the changes that are coming, and all those changes and those losses require us to modify our familiar life patterns, the patterns that we've had with our animals. The changes require us to modify those. What do we have to do differently? What patterns can be maintained, but what has to be adjusted because of the animal's needs. And what I have found doing this work is that pet parents, guardians are so mindful of and responsive to animals' basic needs. And what I've heard over and over from people and seen over and over from people is that their loving care of their animal companions reflects so much their devotion and commitment to those animals. So it's really a time of, as I talk about in my book, it's a true witness to the depth of fidelity and commitment that people have made, and that you continue to your animals. So I think there's that series of goodbyes. Some come before the death. We can talk about some of those losses, some of the things that we start to see as far as changes in our animals' behavior and health and being. They certainly come during the time that we say goodbye, whether it's euthanasia or whether the animal dies on his or her own. And the goodbyes certainly come afterwards. More goodbyes as we honor and rituals and memorials. And we could talk about some of those tonight, some ways to honor. Because I think rituals are vitally important and memorials are vitally important. And the way, again, we're honoring that relationship and we're honoring that animal and we're honoring that what we shared together. And I think the goodbyes oftentimes are very conscious and they're very purposeful. I remember talking to a man who talked about how he took his dog out to the beach one last time because he wanted his dog to experience the beach that the dog loved so much, and it was like a big part of their lives together. So he very purposefully, we're going to the beach today. And that was an example for him of a very conscious and a very purposeful goodbye. I would encourage, when we talk about things that have to be modified, but if we can keep doing the things that our dogs love, if we can still go to Fort Funston, even though we may have to modify the way it's done, or go to the beach, or go to wherever, but just try to keep doing the things that our dogs loved and the things that were such a part of our relationship. I would encourage us to do that. I think the better we can be prepared, the better the outcome. So for me, that means thinking ahead of it. I know I talked about being in the moment earlier, being in the moment. But I think if we can think ahead and remember what our options and our choices are, because for me, preparation can empower us to know that you've thought through what you want to do and how you want to do it. Now, granted, we cannot control everything. We do not have ultimate control. But I think if we can think about what kind of options and treatments we want, I think that, and we'll talk more about the options and the choices. I mentioned having support systems in place. How much can you realistically do? People's situations are different. Do you have a partner? Do you have a spouse? Do you have family who can help? Do you have neighbors who can come in? How much can you realistically do? Because this takes a toll. I remember one woman who, her dog was quite ill, aging, and she would go to work every day. She had people coming into the home to watch after her dog, and then she would come home at night around 5 o'clock at night. She'd go down. her dog couldn't get upstairs anymore, so she would sleep on the garage floor with her dog, giving the dog food during the night, water, fluids, watching after the dog all night. And she would wake up during the night and then give the animal care the next morning and go to work. And she couldn't do that much longer. She figured if she could do it for 2 weeks, she would be really doing well. And she was able to do it for 2 weeks. And then she pushed it to 3 weeks, but the toll for her was just huge. So I really encourage us to think about, what can we realistically do? We have limits. We have physical limits. We have emotional limits. We have financial limits, energy limits. And to have limits, I think, in no way negates the love that we have for you. It's in no way does that negate it. I think it's just realistic that we have limitations. So I encourage us all to really think about what our limits are and then how to get those support systems in place. We are so fortunate to live in the Bay Area. We have pet loss support groups. We have individual counselors. We have hospice. We have hospice. We've got groups. You've got the internet. There are chat rooms. There are hotlines you can call. We are so fortunate. When I started doing this work in 1982, there was nothing out there. There was nothing. As we say, we started the first pet loss support group in the Bay Area, I think, and certainly I think even this part of the country. Now there's so much. So I really encourage you to take advantage of what's out there. You know, if you guys need an ongoing, once every couple months or whatever, support group to talk about this, let's see how we can make it happen. Because this is hard work. It's hard work, and I just applaud you for the work you're doing. I know you're doing it out of love, but even when we love, it can be very hard. This is a time of living with uncertainty. Oh, there's so much uncertainty. We just don't know. There's so much unknown, and that takes a toll. There are these anticipatory losses. How fast is it going to happen? How much time do you have left? How well will the medications work? If this med doesn't work, is there another med I can get? There's so much uncertainty, which makes this time, I think, particularly difficult. Time in life can feel very fragile. It can feel very tenuous. And then I talked about acknowledging the changes and managing and living with those changes. I was talking with a woman the other night, and she was talking about how the dog had just gradually gone down, and she'd just done everything she could, surgeries, and she'd taken the dog to the best veterinary care. And she talked about how seeing all those losses. And she said the time that really was probably one of the hardest for her was when they went to the woods and the dog just didn't want to get out of the car. And for her, that was like, it was just another loss that now had changed. So there's all that acknowledging the changes. There's all that time about getting ready. You know, when you get a diagnosis or you get a lab report back or you get a veterinary consultation and you get the news from the veterinarian and you're hit with all that. And then how do you make the decisions? How do you make those treatment decisions? And I do not think there is one right way and one wrong way. I think it's a very individual decision based on, I mentioned earlier, our own value system, but the resources that we have, what we can realistically do. I think our past experience with this colors what we do. Some of us may have done it too late, and we don't want another animal to suffer because maybe we think we did it too late, or we think we did it too soon, and we, I didn't fight hard enough, and this time I won't fight harder. So I think prior experience makes a difference. I think the input we get from other people can color and maybe influence our decisions. So weighing the decision is really difficult, I think. How you make that treatment decision. How do you measure quality of life? How do you assess quality of life? In the handout I gave you, on the back page, maybe some of you have seen this, the quality of life scale. Have you seen this? By Dr. Alice Villalobos. I went to a veterinary hospice conference 2 years ago. I learned about this. And I've shared this with people. And it's not perfect, but it gives us something, I think, to kind of compare, get a baseline. And it measures 7 factors, I think it is. Hurt, hunger, hydration, hygiene, happiness, mobility, morbid days, and bad days. And it's up to you to rate where you think the animal is. And Dr. Villalobos has said that for her, based on her veterinary practice, if we get to about a 35, then she thinks that when you get to that number, then it's kind of getting maybe not quite so good a quality of life for your animal. But again, what I might rate under her, I might rate 5, say. Somebody else might rate a 7. Somebody else might rate a 2. So it's when I say it's not perfect, it's subjective. But if I started rating it, for me, the way that I judge my animal quality of life, it gives me a way to see if maybe in a week something's different.
Are you talking about on a scale of 1 to 10?
Yeah, with 1 is worse and 10 is the best.
Okay, great.
So if your pet is best on everything, then you'd have a 70.
Got it.
And so it's just, as I say, it's something, it's a way that might be helpful to you. Some people have found it helpful, some people not so helpful. But it's a tool, and I pass it on to you as a way to consider these 7 factors. And as you can see, she has adequate pain control is first and foremost on the scale. Is the pet's pain being managed? Can the pet breathe? Those for her are the most, that's foremost. So this would be something that you would make that determination. So, you might look at it, you might give it a try, you might see if you think that it might be helpful for you. And there's some specific things that she suggests that you think about as you're measuring that. But it's a way just to start tonight with a baseline, and then just to see how that might shift as you go on. There's a book out that's written by Dr. Nakaya, and it's called Kindred Spirits, Kindred Care, Making Healthcare Decisions for Our Animals. And I don't know if any of you are familiar with that book or not.
What is it called?
Kindred Spirits, Kindred Care, Making Healthcare Decisions for Our Animals. She's a veterinarian, and she's written it based on her experience with helping clients make those decisions. And some of the questions she raises are things like, do the benefits of one treatment maybe preclude then something else that's happening in an animal, so that it counterbalances something else? And are the side effects of a treatment acceptable to you? Are the side effects acceptable to an animal that you might have? And another question she asks, and I think this is such an important question, is can you support his care in terms of nursing care, resources, energy, time, finances? And I, you know, I keep coming back to that because I think that's a realistic question that we have to ask ourselves. How much can we realistically do, knowing that we have limitations, we have limits? And I'll say again, in no way do those limits negate the love that we have for our animals. It's just realistic limits sometimes that we definitely have. Another thing you need to think about, I think, is how involved you want to be in the treatment decision. Are you somebody who likes to really read and you want to make those decisions? Are you looking more to your veterinarian to help you with those decisions? Do you want it to be a partnership? How much information do you want? Some people want a lot of information that really helps them in making decisions. They want that information. Other people, it's not so important. So think about what matters to you, what you need to get through this time. And then finding a veterinarian who you can work with and who supports your values and what you want to do. I think that's really important. I think just say something. Yes, absolutely, absolutely.
I think it's important that so many people realize, because I get a lot of phone calls and emails and people coming desperate because their veterinarian won't euthanize the dog and they think they're so I highly include your hospice dog with us, so you know, and our vets know what's going on, but to really communicate with your veterinarian that you're going to be making that decision. Because a lot of vets will want to do a million other things and actually make you feel like you're not making the right decision and you go home feeling guilty. And then, and you know your dog best. You know your animal better. So really communicate with your veterinarian before the day of.
Yeah, I think the sooner, that's it. Remember I talked earlier about preparation. The more prepared we can be, the better the outcome. I think that's part of that preparation, is having that conversation early to be sure you have a veterinarian that you know will work with you and will support your values. It's like Sherry said, we know our animals. We know what quality of life is for them.
Yeah, question. Well, I've had Roxy for 2 weeks. And I said foster, I should have said hospice. So I lost my second dog. I lost her in October. She was 15 and a half years old. I had her since she was 6 weeks old. So I knew her, and I knew it was hard to help her. But I find that with Roxy, she's up and down. And I find myself saying, well, I don't know her like I knew you. How am I going to influence her these positive and those kinds of decisions? So I've just been kind of thinking about that, I spend, she's with me all the time. I work at home and I take her with me to my classes. So I'm getting to know her and I'm understanding, I think pretty well what's happening in each moment. But still, I have that burning question in the back of my head, like, how I don't really know how am I going to make these decisions.
About some of you who've had a similar experience where you haven't had a dog for quite so long, how did you, was that difficult? Was that a difficult decision for you? Did you find it became a little bit clearer to you as time went on? And you knew how to
my hospice dog, Katie, she's had lots of ups and downs. She's got some serious illnesses. And she was really, really not doing well in November. And can I have a tissue, please? And I was at one point, prepared to take her to emergency. And I thought, I thought she was dying, but I'm kind of a hysterical and protective mother. But she really was not doing well. And then, our vet technician helped me switch some things around, and we got her to where she was improving, and now she's stable and she's happy and she's doing great. But it was really scary, and it's like, oh my God, what if I would have made like the totally wrong decision?
It wouldn't have been a wrong decision. That's good. But you have to realize, because
It's
death,
hard.
you wouldn't have known that it was a wrong decision. I mean, now you just know that you've been able to enjoy this much more.
I really believe with all my heart that we make the best decisions we can at the time with the information that we have. We may find out something later, but at the time, I really believe this, we made the best decision in the world with what we had available to us.
Especially when it comes from a place of love and compassion.
This morning, I had to say goodbye to and I only had her 2 weeks, and I didn't know. We knew she was pretty sick though, so she had inoperable cancer. And yesterday she ate, and she's been able to get up and go for a walk and potty, and still wagged her tail when she saw me. And last night she ate dinner, and I got up this morning and she slept in bed with me, and there was vomit all over. And she didn't really want to eat breakfast. She ate a little bit, and I thought, it's getting to be time. It just feels like it's getting to be time. And I took her out for a walk. I hadn't called the doctor yet, and her bowel movement black. So it was telling me, yeah, this is time, And she wasn't even that old, so there was always that feeling like maybe she's gonna bounce back. So there was that. She wasn't 15; she was probably 70. But it's not always that clear cut. But not knowing her and thinking, maybe if I give it another day or some more meds, but I still feel like I made the right decision for her. I really, truly believe that I did. I know I've been doing this a long time, so maybe I can say that. But I don't think there's a wrong. That's what I say. I don't think there's a wrong decision because we don't know.
We don't know.
So we don't know. So it wouldn't have been a wrong decision. Different outcome.
No, thank you.
And I know we probably didn't answer your question.
I think I am gathering and asking.
I would encourage you to just be very open with her, with Roxy, and like it sounds like she's always with you.
Sure, she is.
And you
Right
sound
there.
really tuned
She's
into
so good. I
her.
thought maybe for her
Nose
tonight.
on me.
My hunch is that you will notice something.
I am
Different.
different changes.
Are you? What changes are you noticing?
As evening approaches, she becomes very anxious, and unable to really fully comfortably sleep. Whether there is definitely separation anxiety involved, because she'll just jump up out of the dead sleep and start looking for me. But it's the not sleeping through the night is starting to happen, and she is doing it. us, so we're not seeing through tonight.
Are you taking, is she taking any melatonin?
I am giving her rescue remedy, not melatonin. I just shared an email with myself about that. And I know you talked about that. But rescue remedy, called spontaneity. And I also have this flower essence spray for animals in transition. That I use for so I could pick up some melatonin. And then I did have like one or two leftover travel from her dental work, and so I gave her the last one last night. And it seemed to help her sleep better, but still waking up.
I want anybody here tonight, I don't know if you know any of the hospice families that are here tonight, if you need anything for your dogs, ask Russell or Maria.
And I just wanted to add, maybe this might be a little bit of an answer. If there's ever anything that, as part of the hospice families, that you think could be a sign, because you don't know her that well, just email us and we can all chime in with our own stories or what we may have experienced. And I mean, it doesn't matter how long we've been doing this. I always learn something from every single person that speaks with me. And there's always, between our combined experiences, together we can definitely offer some, advice or help or even reassurance.
So that'd be like the email off site hospice. Thank you.
Yeah, Shauna, please. By there is wisdom in this room, and you guys can support each other. So yes, Russell.
Oh, Shauna, yeah, please talk to me before you go tonight if you're not in a hurry when you leave.
Thank you.
Yeah, I want to send you home with some stuff, and we'll continue the conversation. And also, I wanted to say that lots of us have been through, taking care of a dog who we don't know and who is really sick. And I would encourage you guys to remember that your intuition is really good, and that's part of the reason that you were selected to take care of a hospice dog. Is that we feel like you have a good connection, and you should trust your intuition when you're talking with your dog. And the other thing is that the primary goal of our program is to send dogs home, have them be part of a family and be loved and feel that comfort. And it doesn't really matter in the long run if it's for 2 days, 2 weeks, or 2 months. And once that part of the goal is accomplished, everything else is just icing on the cake.
Like we said earlier, we get a chance to write that final chapter of Roxy's life.
Oh, I feel blessed. I also always think about the fact that dogs don't fear death the way we do, so there's not that going on in their heads. They may look full of pain, and they may read your sadness or the sadness that you're feeling. They probably don't know what that's about because that's not how it's so we're gonna be ones that are really sad or grieving. They just at that point need to
I think like you said, there's no right, there's no right time through it. And with my friends, it's always too early, you think, or it's too late. I don't know many people who've said it was for purpose. Even my little kitty, I had 15 years, woke up one day, no back legs. I knew she had to go. I still kept her 2 weeks because she didn't want to go. And if she wanted to go to the bathroom, she just did this and I carried her. And she went to the bathroom over the litter box. So she could have stayed longer, I thought, but it wasn't quality of life. But even though I knew she couldn't stay, when I had the vet come, it still took an hour because she said she kept giving her enough eventually that equaled for 9-pound cat, it equaled for 35-pound dog. So she was so happy to like. And so sometimes they're like, well, why go? We're working it out. But, and then she had to go. But even though I knew all that, the next day I felt like, why couldn't I have kept her a day longer? Because you give anything for 1 day. So it's like, just, you know, I mean, what we're doing, there's just no perfect for that.
Or it's all for.
You're right. You're right. Exactly. All perfect. You're right.
Do you hear the loving commitment? That devotion I talk about, the loving commitment. Happy for mama, medical pee, caring her to. That's I hear so much of this loving devotion and commitment people make to their loved animal. And it's such an example of that. Let's talk, well, before we get to that, Sherry was talking about some veterinarians, they won't really support our idea of euthanasia because they want to keep trying. And I think in this day and age, with so much veterinary care that's available now, and the options that are available, and the aggressive kind of treatments that are available, I think sometimes the decision might be even harder. Because maybe I will try that, maybe I'll answer this test, maybe. But just because we can do something veterinary medicine wise, does that mean we should? And that's, I think, a decision that we all have to make. Just because we can, and there's so much now we can do with veterinary medicine. Just because we can, does that mean we should? Yeah.
I've dealt with that too, and I always feel like you should ask, who are you doing that for? Like, is it for you, or is it for that animal? You know, is it for you so you can have more time with them, or is it actually for the benefit of that animal? Because going by the quality of life thing, like, you'll know when you shouldn't be putting your animal through more tests, or, you know, trying to prolong that.
Sometimes I've found some people need to do a little more testing. They need to try something a bit more, a little bit more, so that they can know we tried. And they're not left with that feeling of, oh, what if I had that test done, or what if we had tried this treatment? And then that what if can kind of haunt them and eat at them. So for some people, I realize they need to do a bit more to be sure that that now really is the time with the animal. They need that extra bit of information, that another test or another treatment, and we'll see what the outcome is. But it's so individual. But you're right. Who are we doing it for, and what's the reason for doing it? And let's talk a little bit about euthanasia. I have found in doing this work that most people say it's the hardest decision I have ever had to make. Some people feel like they're playing God, and it is so difficult for them. If you come to a pet loss support group, almost to a person, when they talk about euthanasia, they talk about how hard that decision was. This is just Betty Kermit talking, this is my belief. I think euthanasia is a gift we can give to our animals. I think it's something we can give them, do for them, as opposed to doing to them. That's my belief.
I have a bunch of friends that we always talk, you know, and they're all like, God, I hope there's my time, somebody who should, you know, give me that. I do know that way, or else I'll just drive off the cliff or something. And so it's, I do believe that it's
Yeah, what I've found is even when people believe that, sometimes it's still so hard to give that permission to them. So I never, ever, ever, ever want to minimize the difficulty people have with that decision. Even when they think it's the right thing, it's still so hard for people. So difficult. And I think when we're supporting each other, we need to remember that how difficult that decision might be for somebody. Sherry used a term a while ago saying it was getting time. It's getting the time. That's a phrase I've heard a lot of. People saying it was time. It's like there's a realization on some level that it is time. Those words, for me, every time I hear somebody say, it was time, I knew it was time, those words hold a lot of weight for me because I think it really represents a real awareness of somebody's understanding of their animal, appreciation of their animal, knowledge of their animal, and the willingness to take that action. This is something I got off, I think, Muttville's website a few years ago. You may have written it. I think I got this from Muttville. I held her close and made sure everything was very soft around her. She never came back forward. Lollipop passed peacefully in my arms Sunday morning. We always had an agreement that I would not let her suffer. I think she let me know in that way of communication you have with somebody you've spent 15 years with. And then this wise person on Muttville said, say a prayer, light a candle, and hug your dogs. Know they will always stay with you in your heart as your guardian angel. In some form or another, they will always be there. Some very wise person on the Muttville website.
That was Sherry's dog.
I think so. Yeah.
It was a black and white dog.
But that, we always had an agreement that I would not let her suffer.
That's really nice.
Had that agreement. So why don't we open this up to some discussion now? I still have a little bit more I'd like to say about the grief and rituals and memorials and how to honor your timeline and honor your grief journey, how to support other people. But let's open it up now to your questions, your concerns, your experiences, anything anybody wants to add.
I got Sissy, I got her on the first. She was diagnosed with lung cancer, and we kept her in hospice. And I really texted her, she kind of goes up and down, and that's like you were saying, she's always alert. Sherry saw her yesterday. She'll take a great night walk, but then during the day, let's lay her back away from her. But last night she was like, she walked for 30 minutes. I mean, really tried it. And I don't, and getting her to eat is hit and miss. You know, we cook these whatever things. I just can't figure out. Sometimes she's great. She's eating entire chicken. And then she, you know, she because we've had 2 dogs that have passed, but they were both very sick. this is different for me because it's, you know, it's, yeah, I just keep, I don't. And she goes with me everywhere too. We have 5 dogs and 4 of them. It's just, she comes as well. So.
And she still wears black?
And so, you know, she's always with me. But I can't, I want to be sure that I have to log something, but she's very interested and she just always gets this,
I don't think she's.
she gets this big burst of energy at the end of the night. I mean, 11 o'clock at night, we go walking for 35 minutes. I'm like, it's great.
Well, you know, on
But
the,
she doesn't eat, so I can't figure it out.
on the scale, that last one is more good days than bad days. And I
More
would,
good hours and bad hours. This is what I can't figure out.
are there still more good hours than bad hours, do you think?
And you can't, I mean, it's always different, I don't wanna put anybody else things, but her bad days are just that she's sleeping. She's not
That's
really
sometimes she coughs.
suffering, well, yeah,
But
but
the
not,
cough is under control.
yeah, not like, yeah, but she's more low energy and high energy rather than just absolute.
What about eating?
She must be getting enough nutrition to have all that energy.
And she
That
grew.
big enchilada was one of
I
It
mean,
was enchiladas to lasagna.
she must be getting enough to have that energy. I would think.
Actually, just wanted to check in with everybody because, you know, she's,
And she's pooping?
somebody said she's pooping. Yeah, good poop.
That's always nice, yeah. Always a lot better.
I think that how we assess and discern and monitor quality of life is such a challenge. Because it's what are you looking for? And what matters to that dog? What's her quality of life? What matters to her?
But if you've only had her 2 weeks, I feel like you, it's like, I'm very astute, but she always seems to feel better. She's great.
I am,
Yes, you
you
do.
know,
2 weeks on the water, I'll be really
Yeah.
It sounds like you're doing the right thing, is checking in and asking and getting feedback.
I saw her yesterday and
It's hard to know how you assess the quality of life, and what you look for. And how you monitor that. But it sounds like you're doing this, you're so in tune with them. You guys are so in tune.
Roxy's thing is she's just started itching intensely. And at first I thought, oh my God, what did I give her that she has these allergies developing? You know? Well, it's the same diet. I asked you what you were making, so I just kept that. And the scratching is starting last week. And then I emailed Russell and I really noticed that she kept scratching in the same place on both sides. And when I touch her under there, this is good now. There's something there that she doesn't like it to be touched. So that is just uncomfortable for her. And it has gotten bigger. It has gotten bigger since then. And this is where she's scratching intensely. And so I'm thinking, okay, that is bothering her, it's growing, something's happening, skin's changing constantly. Yeah, her skin looks fine though. This is the odd thing, it's not red or pink or anything. She's just scratching. So I'm thinking it's more pain related, discomfort related, something's happening, maybe it's growing on something. Not sure, so this is what we're gonna have a discussion about tonight. And
What is the tumor? Do you know where it is or what organ or what?
did we know there was a tumor?
Well, when I spoke to the SPCA to figure out, they said that they decided not to remove the large mass. And I said, what mass?
is that skin tag thing.
Yeah.
No, it's just under that. So it's sort of like sternum, rib cage area. It's definitely hard and attached. My bigger dog had tons of fatty tumors all over him, and those you just mush all over, just fall. This is hard. And it's right here. And so I think that's what it is. And so just over 2 weeks, I'm just like almost a week now, it's just been scratching. I'm noticing it's on my knees, and she could be in a bed sleep with all this and she'll jump up, you know, and just go at it right or left side, and down her skin.
Pain meds.
Yeah, that's why I give it a try.
Tramadol.
Yeah, because my little girl was on Tramadol, the other things. That always helped her. So I can help her sleep a little bit.
And that sounds like a really good observation that you made. That the tramadol helped, and that would be good information to give to a veterinarian and whoever's advising you on the medical care, because adding tramadol can help.
I'm so glad I came tonight because I think I have a lot in common with you. I adopted Val in October and she had some sort of some mass in her stomach and we wanted to operate on it. And she's been actually really great. But now that I listen to you, I haven't slept since October. Because she gets up in the middle of the night and she wanders around, she scratches, she makes a lot of noise getting up and down. And Cushing's was kind of a question mark with her when I got her from Muttville, and I wanted to save Muttville some money and time, so I took her to my vet. And all the tests came back not Cushing's, but a hormone related thing. So she's on a various tweaking her meds, but he's really adamant about not giving her pain meds. And I'm kind of at loggerheads.
That's
He
wrong.
keeps thinking, oh, but there's impact on the kidney, and it's like she's 12 or 13. I mean, what?
Fire your vet.
Yeah.
You'll come down.
Go to a Mudville vet because we can
We're more to like just like a human would want to.
Well, see, that's my father just, my 91-year-old father died. He had like this wonderful hospice experience where, it's little drops and the morphine, and it was lovely, and he had a great death. And I'm thinking, why can't I sleep at night? Because it's my poor dog just wandering around the
you
house.
should talk to Russell before you leave.
Yeah.
One of the things with
Absolutely dole
humans
it
with
all
adult dog hospice, one of the things that constantly comes up is, I don't want to give Nana the morphine or the Roxanol because Nana will become addicted. But Nana is 91. And if Nana wants to be addicted for the last 6 months, Nana, heck yeah, give her whatever she wants. So why does that same principle apply to the dog? So yes, there are some effects, but again, we're not talking about a 1-year-old dog. It's an older dog that gets comfort at the end of life, which is a different philosophy. Palliative care is a very different philosophy than ongoing. So a good vet that understands that is the key.
No, I think it's cute. This is what it's all about. It's all about pain-free last chapter.
Is that so?
Yes, and anyone whose dog isn't sleeping through the night should talk to me. If not tonight, shoot me an email because that's a key.
All of us have gone through that.
Yeah,
many
and
times.
not sleeping through the night is a great example of inadequate pain management, and that we're happy to help you with that. We don't want any of the dogs to suffer for any reason. It's not
Or you
necessary.
to suffer by not being able to sleep.
That's right. Yeah, my dog.
But Ray has to be on 4 times a night.
Other experiences, what's concerns, questions?
Well, Bay, actually, I just want to say that I really appreciated the sentence that you said, that they gave us advice to Susan, like, what does that dog really look forward to the most? And, I find when I'm very aware and focused to learn that, even if I've just had a dog for hours, I make a point to really put myself present and feel that I mean, like, I feel like I bet, Roxy's foster mom has been able to see that with the short time you've been on. I think that is the most important thing to know about your hospice or foster dog, because as long as you see that they can look forward to that and enjoy that, then that's what your role is. I want to make sure that she can still continue to do that. I'm going to support that as best I can. If you still see they have motivation to do it, but it start to hurt more, well, I'm going to figure out how to make that hurt go away so they can continue to do it. And then there will be a time they don't want to do it anymore. And you know what? Because you've been so in tune and aware of what they love, that is kind of the thing that I personally, I say, you know what? I've been watching her be really into it, even though she was sick for X amount of weeks or days. And I'm slowly starting to see she's telling me now. You know, that's one of the simplest kinds of communications our
That's really
dogs are
helpful,
able to
Lori,
tell
thank
us.
you. Yeah.
Like just that one, like I was able to narrow down and see that specific thing about her personality. You know, you can do that with all our dogs, even ourselves or people, right? And if I can just really stay in tune with that and continue communicating, having her communicate, him or her communicate with me on that specific thing, then I know that I can support on at least that level. You know?
And it can be something really small because they might sleep 20 hours a day, but be so pumped to wake up
So
and have
true.
breakfast and dinner, you know, and then just go hang out on the couch and just be so comfortable and relaxed, but then have that half an hour being pumped about whatever it is.
If your
I
walk
had
to
a
the
dog
park
that
goes,
Every time I took out the leash, he went crazy. He would go crazy for the leash, even if by the time we got out to the sidewalk, he didn't really want to walk anymore. He still was so happy, you know?
Yeah.
Right? There's that. Other challenges.
I'm kind of experiencing a different kind of grieving or sadness. So I took in Juno a couple of weeks ago, and he's actually doing really well. He's a really sweet dog. He has dementia, and some back pain, and he can't feel his back legs, and he's had trouble walking. He's walking a lot better, and sleeping through the night. He's taking melatonin. It's totally helped, different experience at nighttime. And he's a really sweet little dog. And my cat loves him. But I also have a dog who I've had for about 1.5 years, and she's also rescue. She was really sick when I got her, and she's become really healthy, and she's got a lot of anxiety, and she's been doing really great. And since Juno's come into the house, she's really sweet with him, but she's become anxious again and sad. And so I'm feeling really guilty about making the changes and sort of upsetting things for her. Yet, you know, I feel like this is something that we, like me and Camille and Darcy all together, like we can give love to somebody else who needs love and home and care, and, you know, and maybe it's just time because it's just been a couple of weeks, but I'm really struggling with that sense of just this responsibility that I have for her and this guilt, and you know, why did I change what was already going so well? I haven't ever fostered an animal before, and so you know, this is new for me, and because Juno is a hospice dog, he does need a lot of attention. So first thing I do when I get out of bed is to take care of Juno. A lot of times because he's woken me up. But you know, a lot has changed in our routine. When I walk in the door, I usually do something right away. So, and maybe it's just time, like I said, and I gotta give myself time to give her time. But I am really experiencing sort of a sadness about like I need this change. And, how's it all gonna work out? Sort of.
Who do you have to help you with this? Who do you have to support you? Are you managing all this alone?
It's my home. It's my home with the 3 animals. It's the 4 of us together. So that's everybody's in the home. I have a couple of pet sitters who can help out if I'm having a long day at work or those sorts of things. But it's really me
taking care of Darcy and Camille and Juno.
I used to feel guilt every single time I brought a new dog home. That was when I was just bringing one dog home at a time. Because my dog.
Instead of 20.
Instead of a car full.
Yeah. My dog would literally guilt trip me.
Which one?
This one I had just Bosco and Lollipop. And they would wander around and look at me, Bosco started being in the house, all sorts of things. And I'm not gonna say what your outcome is gonna be, but it took about 2 weeks. Even when I first brought Lollipop home, because Bosco was my first dog, they didn't even get along. She fought with them. And I just thought, what? And I rescued her, and I was like, I can't bring her to the shelter anymore. This isn't working. I've made a really bad decision. But I came home one day, like 3 weeks into it, and they were like roughhousing together. So, not to say that that's gonna happen. They were both, 3 or 4 years old. But sometimes that happens when you bring a new animal in, whether it be another dog
I
or a
think
cat.
she's totally right. Having 5 dogs was a 6. As we had a French bulldog that was aggressive, our first rescue. She was so aggressive, she would run out of the yard and attack us. We were like, oh my God. And then we rescued Iris and Sammy out of the desert. These feral dogs. And Lucy was just like, I guess I'll make a huff for a while. And after a while, they were all sleeping together.
But so there is a little bit of a backslide.
Yeah.
And boy, did I feel guilty. I cried myself to sleep.
Thank
So-
goodness for Darcy. The kitty who licks Juno to
Yeah.
sleep.
So she
Maybe she could be an
No,
inspiration.
Camille and Darcy get along, but they don't.
So it's really about your love.
Camille doesn't want Darcy to be as close to her as he is with Juno, so I think Darcy would love to, but they'll sit next to each other, but Camille has her limits with him, whereas it's pretty cute, because I wasn't sure how Juno was gonna feel about it, and Juno
You
likes
guys seen the
Darcy.
video?
Yeah.
Holy
Yeah,
crap.
Juno
There's a
likes
video on
Darcy.
Facebook.
It should go viral. It's
Yeah,
amazing.
licking Juno, her hospice dog, all over, and he's just laying there.
Oh, I took pictures of them this afternoon, like Juno was laying on top of Darcy, and Darcy was his pillow, like it's really cute, like they're happy together.
So maybe it's time to ignore him.
Ignore Juno.
Ignore Juno.
And Juno won't mind, and Darcy's
she
probably
won't.
giving him an
Yeah, I do actually, he's not really an attention.
No.
grabber. Like he's pretty happy just getting his food and being, having a space that he's taken to, but, so I do ignore him in that sense, but, and it probably is just a time thing with Camille that she's adjusting, and I've got to adjust too and let that happen, but it's sort of that thing about limits, I'm realizing like, I don't want to blow this up too much, like the sadness that I'm feeling, like with, watching her, and hopefully, it's gonna take another week or so, and she's gonna start being herself again, so.
He's not really.
She's not into that.
She's not, and neither is he, really.
Yeah, and Juno, he likes Darcy because Darcy comes and snuggles with him and keeps him warm, but it's not that he's gonna go seek him out. He's got dementia and it's kind of all about the basics for him, just being comfortable and warm and
That's what we're here for.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Don't ever feel like they're. I understand that.
And I've heard some ideas about homeopathic suggestions tonight. Would anything like that?
It's actually a really good idea. I gave her some homeopathic anxiety meds when I first brought her home, and she was recovering from her surgeries and things, and that really helped her. So maybe I should go give her some of that.
Rescue committee or
And also flower essences
Flower
that
essence.
inspire, like, for those of you who believe in it, they have like for hope and security and assurance. I actually really, really do believe in it, for myself included. I don't know if you might explore that and see if Camille could use one that is about hope and security.
They're little bracelets.
They're called
or
flower essences.
Well,
Put 'em
there's
in their
box
lunch
bars, box bars.
Boxes.
The whole rescue remedy.
Oh, it's food.
We'll email it to you.
It's good drops.
No, I would totally.
I'll email you a link about it.
Yeah.
Really good.
I mean, even as
Very susceptible
hospice,
to it. They aren't as closed-minded to it, so they've done studies and they found that animals actually respond better to essences because they aren't like going like this.
judgmental about it.
Yeah.
So as you bring up homeopathic, I mean, really, like, that's such a flower essences because they're about your feelings and how we feel, as well as your hospice dogs. There's something we all can use even together, you and your hospice dog, where, you know, I mean, you just have to see all the different variations, but it's something that's great to actually take with your dog to help you both feel supported emotionally. We just put it in the water.
I had a dog with drops and I had rescue remedy. My dog trainer said, a dog gets a couple drops and you get a dog gets a couple drops and you get a couple
Nicole knows it.
Yeah.
Knows.
One thing about Rescue Remedy, the difference between the human
Yes.
Yeah.
one and the animal one is it doesn't have any alcohol in it. So I found that out in the long run is that, you know, there are two definitely formulas. One is for pets.
And it's marked.
Yeah.
Where do you get that?
Well, I get that as pharmacized in the open pills, but the thing is you just have anyone that carries Rescue Remedy, all you do is have to call and say, do you carry the pet formula?
Go online.
Go online, yeah.
I know that Pets Express.
I think it's on the, like, the wish list.
And also, if you're in a pinch and you only have the human grade, all you have to do is put some in a bowl and sit on the counter, and the alcohol will dissipate after about 20 minutes, and then you can use that. So that's, yeah.
It's a wealth of information and knowledge in this room. Yeah.
Any other here? I wanted Carol to share the totem that she just got today.
Okay,
It's so amazing.
I'm hoping my tablet still has enough. It is,
It's a totem.
I got this from a friend from Arizona. And I'm gonna cry because I just lost Penny last night.
You had for 17 wonderful months, right?
Well, yeah, I had her and they said, oh, probably 6 months, and she was with me just under a year and a half, and I don't think she wanted to go, actually. But, you know, she would have been 17 at the end of this month. If you just go through it, there are 4 pictures here. I can send this around.
How tall is it? 20 inches?
20 inches, and it's made out of wood, and it's painted. And on this side, it says, best dog, faithful companion. And this one says, here lies something friend, a trusted friend. So I'm just gonna send this around till the battery goes. And this one says, loyal friend.
Can you send us a link or
I
something?
am, somebody asked, Louise asked me to, but the thing is, I'll send it to you. And this is my favorite. It's a dog with a halo about it, and it says beautiful heart.
And it says just each side is.
Each side. And so, you also get it's underneath, it's open at the bottom. And you get a stake, it's a metal stake, and you can put it in the ground and put this on top of it if you want to put it in your garden, your yard, or you can, right now it's on my fireplace stand because I just got it and I'll decide whether I want to put it outside. I've never seen anything like it. It's 20 inches high. My friend sent it she's from Arizona, but I don't know where.
I'll send you a link and you guys.
Yeah, on the side of it, there's some information that has a email, so I'll look at it, Sherry, and send it to you.
Okay, thank you. I just thought that was.
Oh, I just, yeah.
Well, that kind of leads us into the whole part about rituals and memorials. I was saying to you earlier that I have come to see the importance of honoring
our animals and honoring the relationship by doing some kind of ritual memorial. And those can be as individual as those of us who are sitting in this room. But Carol, what you showed there, that totem, honoring, I really encourage you to think about doing something that fits with who you are and fits with the relationship that you have. And people do all kinds of wonderful things, you know, planting trees, planting bushes, sending out memorial cards, making donations to organizations. I remember one woman had a little bush and she would change it with the seasons, Christmas lights and 4th of July, but it was always something she tended. She felt like she was tending her dog still. She was tending his little tree, his little bush. So I really just encourage you, there's so much online you can do, memorials, but it's really, I just can't say enough about it. And this is something I'm involved in, and you're welcome to come. My church, every year we do a pet memorial service. It's an interfaith memorial service. And it's going to be on Sunday, March the 22nd. You're free to come. We create, it's an interfaith. We create a memorial, and people come and bring things to put on the altar, and we write a tribute cloth. So you're welcome to come, or if you know of anybody. But that's just an example of a memorial. What we found at the church is that people are so grateful to have a spiritual place where they can come and honor their animals. So I just put that out to you.
Are you familiar? I remember a couple of years ago when I had to say goodbye to a dog. I went online and it was like every Monday at 7 o'clock to light a candle, and you can.
Candle lighting ceremony.
Yes, it's for pets, and it was Monday. Have you ever heard of that?
Yes, I have.
But I don't
And
know.
it happens all over the world, apparently.
Yeah, it does, but I don't remember.
I think it's called something like candle lighting service and
for pets.
for pets.
Did you light the candle in your house, or did you go someplace to light it?
Well, you can, but the thing is they just, if you sign on a Monday night, this was maybe 6 years ago, and I don't, senior moment here, I don't remember. But I just, all of a sudden, it dawned on me, I remember going in, and you can light a candle, but the thing is, it's a celebration of the life that you were able to share. And I found that initially, I didn't sign in very often after that, but the thing is, it was a comfort at the time. And I don't, if I can find it to you up, Sherry, I'll also include that, but it was, it might be helpful, especially if people don't live with someone. And, it might be something they can do on Monday just to kind of give them some comfort or with good reminders of the pet they lost.
And it's my understanding it's around the world, so it's like a community of people who come together online and are honoring and celebrating
the lives of their pets. Yes.
And you use the word comfort. That's what's so important as we're grieving, is to do those things that are comforting to you. Everybody's grief journey is different. And what gives comfort to one person may not give comfort to somebody else. And something could be distressing to one person, whereas it could be comforting to somebody else. I really encourage you to come up with what gives you comfort. Grief is hard, and grief hurts. And find those supports. Find those people, those supports out there, those resources that are comforting and supportive to you. I always would tell people in the pet loss support group, do not put this out where it's going to be trampled on. It is too precious. Your grief is too precious to have it trampled on. So I would always encourage people, always share it with those people who you know will be gentle and compassionate with you and with your grief. And I encourage people to honor your grief journey, honor your timelines. Some people are gonna wanna kind of speed you on a little bit. Your grief may be very uncomfortable for them and they wanna kind of move you forward. Honor your timeline. I would have people come to the pet loss support group for months at a time. They would come on the year anniversary of their animals passing or their animals dead. Because I think we live in a society that wants us to get over it really fast. And grief's not like that. Grief takes time. So it really encourages us to honor our grief journey and our own timelines. And in closing, I'd like to read you something. Some of you may have heard this because I read it someplace else, but it's just something that I really like. Somebody said it to me. From time to time, people tell me, lighten up, it's just a dog. Or that's a lot of money for just a dog. They don't understand the distance traveled, the time spent, or the cost involved for just a dog. Some of my proudest moments have come about with just a dog. Many hours have passed and my only company was just a dog, but I didn't feel the least bit slighted. Some of my saddest moments have been brought about by just a dog. And in those days of darkness, the gentle touch of just a dog gave me comfort and reason to overcome the day. So if you too think it's just a dog, then you'll probably understand phrases like just a friend, just a sunrise, or just a promise. Just a dog brings into my life the very essence of friendship, trust, and pure unbridled joy. Just a dog brings out compassion and patience that make me a better person. So because of just a dog, I will rise early, take long walks, and look longingly to the future. So for me and folks like me, it's not just a dog, but it's an embodiment of all the hopes and dreams of the future, the fond memories of the past, and the pure joy of the moment. Just a dog brings out what's good in me and diverts my thoughts away from myself and the worries of the day. I hope someday they can understand that it's not just a dog, but it's the thing that gives me humanity and keeps me from being just a man or just a woman. So the next time you hear the phrase, just a dog, just smile, because they just don't understand. So I will leave you with that thought and just tell you guys again how privileged I feel to share this evening with you. And again, I want to commend you for what you do. You guys are doing some really important work and you're making such a difference, such a difference. Animals in our community. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, I'm giving her a but
I'm getting ready. And all the tears
I haven't